My home, a sanctuary, stood amidst this calm. I cherished the quiet, the predictable routine of suburban living. But every neighborhood has its quirks, and ours had Mrs. Henderson. She was known for her particular sensitivities. Her complaints were legendary, often over the most trivial matters. That evening, I was unwinding, completely unaware of the drama brewing. A quiet dinner, a good book, the usual. The world outside seemed to settle into a peaceful slumber, mirroring my own anticipation of a restful night. A jarring, insistent knocking echoed through the house, followed by a persistent doorbell. My clock read 4 a.m. Who on earth would be at my door at this ungodly hour? My heart pounded with a mix of fear and annoyance. I stumbled out of bed, my mind racing through possibilities. A package. An emergency. Nothing made sense. As I approached the door, the knocking intensified, a clear sign of urgency. I peered through the peephole, my breath catching. 2 police officers stood on my porch, their uniforms stark against the pre-dawn darkness. My confusion turned to alarm. One officer, a man with a calm demeanor, spoke first. "Sir, we received a complaint about a vehicle blocking a driveway." Blocking a driveway. At 4 a.m., I was utterly baffled. My car was parked exactly where it always was, in my own driveway. I stepped outside, my eyes immediately drawn to my car. It sat perfectly within the lines of my property, not obstructing anything. Then I saw her, Mrs. Henderson, peeking from behind her curtains, a smug, self-satisfied expression on her face. Audacity. To call the police at this hour, over nothing, and then to gloat about it. My annoyance flared. I calmly explained to the officers that my car was on my property, legally parked, and not blocking any access. They nodded, their expressions unreadable, and then began their assessment. Professional, by the book. They walked the perimeter, checking the curb, the sidewalk, even glancing at the street. There was nothing amiss. After a thorough check, they turned towards Mrs. Henderson's house. My heart gave a little leap of anticipation. They knocked on her door, and after a moment, she appeared, still in her nightwear, looking agitated but also triumphant. She immediately launched into an animated explanation, pointing dramatically towards my driveway, her voice rising in pitch. The officers listened patiently, their faces impassive, occasionally nodding. They maintained their professional composure. From my vantage point, I could only imagine the exaggerated tale she was spinning, painting me as the villain. After what felt like an eternity, the officers turned from her door and walked back towards me. My heart raced. The lead officer approached, a slight smile playing on his lips. "Sir, everything appears to be in order here." A wave of relief washed over me, quickly followed by a sense of vindication. I knew it, but hearing it from them was satisfying. Then, the officers turned back towards Mrs. Henderson, who was still watching, her smugness unwavering. The officer's voice was firm, devoid of any previous pleasantries. "Ma'am, your complaint is unfounded. Furthermore, you have misused emergency services by making a false report." The words hung heavy in the morning air. Her face, moments ago triumphant, contorted into a mask of shock, then anger. The realization dawned on her. The officers proceeded to issue her a warning, explaining the legal ramifications of misusing 911. A citation was mentioned. Her jaw dropped, her eyes darting between the officers and me. The tables had turned, dramatically and unexpectedly. They gave me a brief nod, and then departed, their patrol car disappearing down the street. The street returned to its usual silence, but it was a different kind of quiet now, one tinged with the aftermath of drama. I watched Mrs. Henderson retreat into her house, her shoulders slumped, her previous bravado completely gone. The incident became a quiet legend in our neighborhood. Mrs. Henderson's complaints became less frequent, less dramatic. The early morning visit from the police had taught her a valuable, albeit embarrassing, lesson about false accusations. And as for me, I learned that sometimes justice arrives in the most unexpected ways. Even at 4 a.m., it was a reminder that even in the quietest corners of suburbia, life can deliver its own brand of dramatic irony.